What's up, everybody? I know it's been a long time since we've been in the garage, but we're back. We're back in the garage. We're back on the Bad Boy. As you can see from my shirt, I've already attended the East Coast Jam. You guys have seen those videos. If you have not watched those videos, I encourage you to go back and watch them. I think there's 4 videos altogether. Obviously, we did a bunch of stops along the way, which those videos seem to be a big hit with you guys. Getting a little behind the scenes of some of maybe your favorite shops or favorite builders. I know I had a blast. Thanks to each and every person that opened up their doors for us and let us walk in, and me carry this camera around to show you what was going on. Today, we're back on the Bad Boy. It's been 2 months. 2 months ago, Dad dropped this bike off, and I thought I'd have it done in a month. And obviously, with everything else in life, that wasn't what happened. Some things kind of, I don't know, changed the course of this bike. Not the bike itself, but my time allocated for the bike, because, you see that up there? I have AC now. I actually have AC in my shop or garage. My dad saw me on this bike, saw me sweating, and wanted to do a little surprise for me. So him and my wife, and obviously my mother, all got together, asking Justin some questions, because he's obviously got AC in both his, or mini splits in both of his shop and garage. They asked me a few questions. We ended up going with this unit. And me being me, I didn't want anyone else coming over and installing it. So I did it all myself because, well, quite frankly, I like to learn. I like to learn new trades. I like to learn new things. This thing was challenging. You had to drill it through brick. There was a 3-inch hole that went through the brick. I had to drill that. Actually, right here, I'm going to show you some little video clips as I'm talking, or pictures and video clips. But, I had to drill through the brick. Going around my neighborhood, there's a few other houses that have mini splits, and they just look very, very tacky. Whether it's the way the ductwork is or where everything's mounted. So I wanted to do it really nice and clean. Kind of mapped out the area, from my power box over to where the unit would be. Given the fact of like the actual factory lines that came with the mini split, the length of those, et cetera, et cetera. So anyways, this is the plan I came up with. This is where I routed it, ran the wire all the way through. The only thing I needed help with was a good electrician friend of mine came and had to kind of move some circuit breakers around in my circuit breaker box, the big box out there on the side of the house, because I didn't have a spot for a 2-pole, so I needed to move one around, and way out of my expertise. So he did help me with that, but everything else I did, and I'm super proud, and man, the garage feels great. Thanks, Dad. Thanks, Sierra. Thanks, Mom. Thanks, Justin. Thanks all you guys for surprising me with the unit, but it took me pretty much, I would say, off and on about 3 days. So I'd get off work, and the time that I could have been working on this, I was taking my time, really trying to get this done right. I would purchase something and have the wrong stuff and have to go back to Home Depot. So you guys know how that goes at home. Another thing, right before we get this video started, I want to go ahead and let you guys know about Thundermax. Thundermax EFI has been sponsoring this channel now for 2 months now, I think. About 3 months. And one of the things that they just came out with that they do now offer for you guys with the 2025 and up Softails, they offer a tune-in module for your bike. All the same great features that you come in love with the Thundermax unit, the auto tuning, the 2-step control that people are just going head over heels for, all that sort of stuff is now offered for you guys with the 2025 Softails. So definitely get over to thundermax.com. I'll put the website right here. Get over there, check it out. Great unit for you guys with the 2025s and up. And then anything EFI related with the Harley-Davidsons, Thundermax has you covered. Now that I put that quick little plug in, let's get back on this bike, because it's been 2 months, too long. And I got to get this bike delivered to my father in 4 days. So in 4 days, I got to deliver the bike. And I'm going to go over real quick what I did off camera, because I have been kind of working on it periodically over the past 3 or 4 days to get it to where it's at. And I'm going to show you what today's video is all about. So let's turn the camera around and see where we're at on the bike. All right, if this is your first time to the channel and this is the first time that you're seeing this motorcycle, this is a 1995 Harley-Davidson Bad Boy. I've had a few of these bad boys. Go back and watch the video of us picking this bike up, or not picking the bike up, but of him dropping the bike off. And you'll learn the history of not only his bad boys, but some of mine, and obviously the history of the bad boys in general. I'm not gonna go through all that in this video. What we're gonna do is go over what I've done to the bike since the last video, because I've done quite a bit. I feel like most of it was just very simple, kind of bolting on parts and taking off parts and things like that. If you remember in the last video, one of my biggest complaints was the powder coat. Justin actually reached back out to the same shop. I did go by there and mention it. I don't know, maybe I wasn't vocal enough, or maybe I just was like, it is what it is, and I'll just find someone else. But Justin went over there with my same parts and spoke to someone else, and they were able to go ahead and refinish these while we were in New York. License plate mount. So I'm gonna show you some pictures real quick. What I did here is trimmed it. I trimmed this thing down. The bottom corner of this was actually folded up for whatever reason. I don't know if they caught it on something or hit something or whatever the case may have been, but it was folded, it was ruined. So I've done this in the past with these steel frame license plate mounts where I'll cut there's a down bar that goes from here and up. I'll actually cut that off. It used to have two big circles, so I used the circle and then just kind of follow the bottom of the circle around to give it a real nice shape. Painting it, making it all look good. While I have everything apart, I went ahead and detailed the tail light, the actual chrome housing for the tail light inside and out so it has a nice bright shine. Went through my parts collection, found a super mint set of turn signals for both sides with the standoffs, so all that stuff's been replaced. I fixed the wiring on these. Both of them actually had pinched wires. I think in the first video when we were disassembling this bike I showed you one of them, but upon further investigation both of them actually had wires that needed to be replaced. So painted the perch. It was all chipped up. I don't know if you recall that, but looked really crummy. So took this apart, got all the paint off there, smoothed it, painted it, routed my clutch cable, adjusted my clutch basket, topped it off with fresh fluid, and put the factory genuine Harley derby cover on there. So now all that stuff's said and done. I showed you guys the pegs on the last one, obviously the front end being all cleaned up on the last one. Front shock. When we bought the bike, this was the shock that was on there, and I thought that I was just going to be able to buy a set of replaceable bushings because the one was completely crumbled and fallen out. There's a guy on eBay that actually sells a bushing kit for the genuine Harley Springer shock. I purchased the kit and brought it home, went to go put the bushings in, tried to get it back into the bike, and it would not fit. It was way too wide. All right, I don't know if this is going to show up very well, but the chrome on the genuine Harley is actually narrower than the chrome mount on the aftermarket. So when I ordered these bushings from the gentleman on eBay, and I tried putting them inside this shock, it would not go into this perch. No matter what I did, no matter how hard I tried, it would not go into that perch. So I actually had genuine Harley-Davidson shock here, and I was going to put this in. However, when I was kind of messing with it or whatever, it just felt, I don't know, like the gas inside of it or the charge or whatever just did not feel strong. So third option is I got another shock. As I went to go install the shock, it still would not go into the front end, which just blew my mind. Took some measuring and figured out what happened. When they put this shock, this aftermarket shock, even though the chrome is wider, the overall distance with the bushings and everything on this shock is narrower than the genuine. And what they did to tighten the shock up and keep it from rattling is they actually pinched this inward. You take a look at this picture that I'm showing right here. I actually just took a long bolt, 2 nuts and 2 washers, and I put them on the inside, 2 wrenches, and I just kept working it, and I would spread it apart, kind of act like a reverse press, pulled it apart, did it on the top and bottom, and was able to get this shock in. Also, as you see on this shock, after cleaning it up, I did add a new metal decal that came from Harley-Davidson like that. Most of the time you're gonna find them, you get your bike and they might look a little faded. You might think it's supposed to be silver, but it is definitely supposed to be gold. These decals are actually super cheap and they're still sold brand new through Harley-Davidson. I wanna say they're under $10. To get ready to paint this motor, I need to remove the air cleaner and the backing plate. I need to get all this out of the way, possibly the carburetor, we'll see. Over here on this side, I've already removed the horn, the coil cover, gotten all that stuff out of the way, and I got an old set of spark plugs in here and these little guys. So you might ask yourself, what am I doing with this? Why would I put these on to paint the motor? I want to leave the head bolts natural. I don't want to put black paint over the head bolts. I think it just looks kind of tacky. I know this isn't the right way of doing it. You know, obviously the correct way would be to pull the whole motor down and paint it the way it's supposed to be painted, but I don't have the time for that. Plus, when I get this bike back, because I do plan on still purchasing this bike and having it for myself, I want to pull this motor out, do some motor work to it, kind of maybe make a little bit more power, whatever the case may be. But I do want to take it fully apart, and I'm going to install new head studs, you know, have the jugs all painted or powder coated correctly, whatever I decided at that time. But for the time being, we're going to tape everything up that I can. We're going to paint it all, and when I take these back off, it's almost going to look like it's never been done. We only have to paint the heads and the jugs. There's a couple little chips down on the block, but the primary is really nice. The transmission's really nice. I'm gonna leave all that natural. I'm gonna try to leave as much natural as I can and only address the areas up on the top. And this is what I'm gonna do that. Obviously, tape, use some good automotive tape. Don't try to use some cheap masking tape. As far as paint goes, this is the genuine Harley's Texture Black, which is a pretty good match to that. I did spray a little spot on the head. You can see that little darker spot right there. That's where I kind of dusted a little bit of paint just to see how it's going to dry, and it looks really good, so I'm happy with it. This is what I painted the engine on my FXR, which, let me show you that real quick. I don't know if you can see that great because it's a little dark over here in the corner of the shop, but the transmission, that exhaust bracket, the tappet blocks, the jugs there, all that was painted with that satin black. It's a non-texture. The only texture you see is from the actual casting itself of the parts, but it has a more of a shine, sheen, whatever you want to call it, to it that's not going to match the genuine Harley primary and transmission and blocks. So my plan is to use the PJ1 paint, put a coat or two on the motor pieces that I'm painting, and then to top it off with this texture paint, because I only have a little bit of this. This paint actually came from Adam Garley at Garley's Garage down in Texas. He sent it to Justin to use on a starter, and there's still plenty of paint left over. Not enough to paint the whole motor, but enough for me to put one good coat on top of that stuff. And I know that stuff's super durable. My FXR now has about 18,000 miles on it. It's ridden through a bunch of rain and other, weather conditions, and the motor still looks great. So I don't have a fear of that stuff not working. I'm hoping they work together though. I'm gonna try this. I wanna try this thing right here that I purchased to re-highlight the fins. Usually I just use my hand and I kind of go in there and sand it, but I saw this thing in the aisle. It already comes with pre-cut. I guess they just stick on maybe like Velcro, little pads. It says there's 30 sheets in there of different grits. So usually about a 180, 220 is what I usually use. But if need be, I can hit it with the 180, come back over it with the 320. This should be able to get into some of these tight spots. The spots that I still can't get with this, I can just use my hand like I have in the past, and it should work out fine. So what we need to do is we need to get the air cleaner and everything off the other side, start taping everything up, and then I'm gonna show you what I did to prep the heads in the block, and then let's throw some paint on it. All right, I already started taping up the other side real quick, just to try to speed this process up because, like I said, I'm getting low on time. This is a good running motorcycle. It doesn't need to come fully apart just yet, but it will, I promise you. One day down the road, this thing will be fully apart, and we'll do it right, but for the time being, this is what I'm doing. I don't know why there's so much moisture in here. It's weird. Look at the jets and everything in the carburetor. When I pulled the old spark plugs, or the spark plugs that were in this bike, when I pulled them out, they were a little dark, so obviously with this plastic backing, it doesn't have a breather kit. So chances are they just jetted it, but never actually put air cleaner on it, which means it's just getting too much fuel, not enough air. So we'll crack open the fuel bowl, see what the jets are. If they're too big, we might bring them down a little bit, or figure out a way to get some more air into this motorcycle. I think I might have another filter kit, I'm not sure. Definitely have one for my twin cam. I don't think I have Evo breather bolts because the breather bolts up here are actually a little thicker than a twin cam, so we'll just have to play all that by ear. So got all this off, obviously. Clean these up. This one was a little rusted, as you can see. So I'm gonna take some Scotch-Brite. I'll try to clean it up. If I can't get this cleaned up, I mean, it feels like most of it might come off. If I can't, I do have another Evo motor there in the stand, directly behind the camera, that I can just rob one of these off, pop it in there for the time being, and then I can just buy one more for the motor on the stand. So I degreased this entire motor before we rolled it into the shop. So before we brought it in here and put it on the lift, everything was degreased. All the oils and everything should be off the motor for the most part. What I've done now is I've taken a brass wire brush. I use brass because it's kind of a softer metal than like a steel wire brush, and it's not going to really scuff the chrome if you hit the chrome, and it's not going to, you know, do any type of damage to anything, but it will knock off any loose paint or powder that might not allow for the new stuff to stick. So just go through here, try to clean what you can, and then once you get everything cleaned, then with some high pressure air, honestly I should have put a cap over this, but with some high pressure air, you'll just kind of blow off, and any other little fragments will come off with that. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put some tape over this. I should have done it already, but put some tape over this. I'm gonna finish wire brushing everything, and then I'm gonna tape everything up, and then we're gonna get the painting. Yeah, let's do that. Alright, definitely not the cleanest tape job. If I get a little overspray on here, I don't care because I'm buffing the tins anyways. But you want to try to get in there and get everything that you can taped up and, you know, prevent against any sort of overspray. And then, you know, you can just drape some stuff that will work over the rest of the stuff. Now, I've never done a motor to this extreme. I've only had to touch up a couple of fins every now and then. So after taping this up, it might have been easier just go ahead and pull the motor, which is what I really wanted to do. But for the sake of just getting the bike done for him, enjoying it for a little bit, and then because once I pull the motor, I know it's going to open up a whole new can of expenses or whatever to regasket and put a little bit more power in it and new lifters, you know, and it turns into another budget. So to do it right, it will be done that way. But for the time being, this is going to look good. I'm going to be happy with it. My dad will be happy with it, and hopefully you guys, like I said, don't roast me too bad, but do roast me if I'm doing something stupid or wrong or whatever. This is just the satin black, so we're just going to kind of dust some of this in there. You definitely got to make sure that whatever you put your tape and stuff, you're able to get in there with the paint. You don't want to have it too taped up and then you can't reach the spots you need to paint because you got tape and stuff in the way. So we'll just go in here, put a nice little coat of paint on this, and like I said, we'll do this probably 2 or 3 times with this paint, and then we'll put the light color or the texture color on top, and then we can start reassembling everything. All right, so this has been drying for probably maybe 2 hours almost. I took the head bolt covers off, put the new spark plugs back in it. Like I said, this motor's not perfect. There's still some chips and blims on it. So my biggest thing was this is still way, way better than it was. Does that make sense? So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna attempt to kind of highlight the fins. Basically what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do kind of like gasket removal. I've explained to you guys in previous videos kind of the technique of going backwards. You know, you're not digging and trying to cut into your cylinder because they are aluminum. You're going to go backwards and just kind of scrape. So we'll do, let's do this top one first. Because these things are already kind of smooth, most of it should come off fairly simple. Once we get to a certain point, then we can pull out that little sanding block, dial it in even more. I'm just going I'm going backwards, so I'm dragging it along. And it's just nicely peeling it back. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do all the way around on all this. Then I'm going to take the sandpaper, the little blocks. Now we have 3 different grits. We have a aggressive, which I don't think I'm going to need the 80. But we do have 180 and 320. So once I get the rough stuff off, I can put that on the little block. I can smooth it out. The trick's gonna be going around the edges, getting in some of these tight spots. Up here, it only stops at the end. It does not go all the way into the curve up here. Does not go all the way up into the curve. This is gonna take a while, as you can see, and it's already getting kind of late. So this might be something I'm gonna start on tonight, and then I'll just finish it up tomorrow, and then we'll just let you check back in, see where I'm at on all this stuff. And then we got to get the exhaust, the gas tank, the dash, a few more pieces buttoned up because I need to put a couple miles on this bike before I send it home to him. See you in a minute. It's done. It looks good. It looks a lot better than it did. You know, got the coil cover back on, got the horn back on, everything's routed. There's still flaws, there's still chips, it still has character, but overall it all looks good. And what we're going to do is, well, actually let's go to the other side real quick. This is just to show the other side off. Same thing. I did, by the way, rejet this carburetor. For some reason, even with the factory air box, I knew it was probably going to be running rich. The air idle screw was out 2.5 turns, which also told me that someone's probably messed with it, brought the jets down a little bit. We'll see how the bike runs and rides. Eventually, we'll upgrade the air box and the jets back to maybe like a 45 180 or something. But I'm going to get this fuel tank on. I'm going to get the exhaust on. We're going to roll the bike out, wash it, and then I'll let you guys see the bike complete. So the next time you see this thing, it'll be fully complete, ready to take to Georgia. Made it to Georgia, got the bike delivered to Dad, and what's your thought now that you see it? More than just in photos and video.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
It's
I'm a loss for words. This is probably one of Scotty's best, I think, creations here. He took it, and it wasn't in that bad a shape. I mean, it sort of was, but it really sort of wasn't. He took his time, he did it right. He's a perfectionist on the detail part of doing these things, but these bad boys mean so much to me. As you all remember when I dropped it off to him, this is my 10th one, and I just love these bikes, and I love them done right, and I couldn't trust anybody more than I can trust my son. I mean, he does things right. But anyway, I can't wait to ride it to work, and I can't wait to ride it around and show my buddies that I ride with, and yeah, this bike isn't going anywhere.
No, it came out really good. I'm super happy with it. Unfortunately, this video is going to be really quick because I just looked at the camera battery and the memory card, and it's low. So to let you guys know, there may or may not be another project for Dad on the channel. I may or not.
There is.
I may or may not be going to pick up another bike for him. So that, I guess, stay tuned for the video after this and see the next bike that we just picked up for him, the condition, and what all I have to do to it. But I'm happy with it, and now getting to see it beside the 97 Heritage Springer. I mean, it's such a cool duo to have. The Bad Boy, first year Bad Boy, first year Heritage Springer. Man, it's super cool. So, all right, Dad. Well,
thank you, Scotty.
Let's take these things down the road while we got some sunlight before it starts raining,
sounds
and
good to me.
Enjoy them.
How about the Z?
That poor car. You need to start enjoying your stuff more. Stop letting everything sit. All right, we'll see you guys on the next video. Yeah, stay tuned. We got another project coming up real soon.
You're gonna love it.